$1 went a long way, and so did 24 hours. The 60s and the 70s, dwelling place of the lost generation. We who grew up in this era had no real heroes. Our role models came from the imaginations of others. Our meager lives were formed by and revolved around weekly installments of our favorite TV programs.
Welcome to a place that your parents didn't understand. A place that exists somewhere between the forefront of recollectable memory and the edge of everyday thought. Welcome to the vast wasteland. Welcome home.
Good evening, and welcome to another exciting episode of Vast Wasteland. We're here with Wilbert Neal and Marty Wiley. I'm Mark Schmidbauer, and we're here to talk about 60s and 70s television, that kind of age when, I don't know...
when we grew up.
When we grew up, that's probably the best way to say it.
It's the easiest way.
And today we're going to talk about probably one of, certainly for 60s television, and possibly for all television, one of the biggest shows, a phenomena, if not a rating success, the original Star Trek series. Now, we want to say first off, this is not going to be about Next Generation, although we may mention it, or the movies. This is 60s and 70s television, so we're only going to cover the original series and, of course, the animated series. Now, Star Trek was on from 66, 69. The 78 episodes created by Gene Roddenberry, who called it the Wagon Train to the Stars. It's a show, he thought, when it was a central cast, same cast every week, and they'd go out and fix things. And that's basically what the show was. And was on for 3 seasons, mostly due to a huge letter campaign that went on at the end of the second season, unheard of in the industry before. But it finally was canceled in '69, and there was the animated series starring the original cast doing all the roles, and James Doohan and Majel Barrett Roddenberry basically doing all the other voices other than the main cast members. And then after a failed attempt at a new series in the mid-'70s that never really got off the ground at Paramount, finally, we saw Star Trek: The Motion Picture, which wasn't that big a success. Well, it made a huge amount of money, but Trek fans still consider it eh. And, of course, there were the other 4 movies, and, of course, now we have Star Trek: The Next Generation. And in addition to the huge amount of merchandising and the conventions and the Trekkies, there's at least 60 novels out there now, so it's certainly something that's going to be around for, well into the 21st century, I'd say. Anyways.
At least that's the hope.
Right. So that's what we're going to talk about today, and I'll turn the podium over to Wilbert with his first point for the evening.
Well, let's see. As far as the show goes, I like the way that they always seem to change uniforms through the series, like the first episode, or the first. Well, we could talk about the first episode, really,
right.
the Cage episode, where you didn't really have Captain Kirk. You had Commander Pike and all the other people, and they had the lovely turtleneck uniforms.
Right. which you saw a little bit. You saw a little bit back in, like, Where No Man Has Gone Before.
Yeah, well, that was, like,
which pretty much, yeah, was the second pilot for the show.
Yeah.
Well, see, originally, I mean, when the command color, the yellow, was supposed to come out green. That was the big thing, and they saw it on their on dailies or whatever. And I guess the story is that the guys who actually developed the film for the studio thought it was supposed to be yellow, so they went in and they screwed around with the developing to make it come out yellow. And so they said, well, I guess we'll have to make the costumes yellow now because we have this one episode and we don't want to screw up the continuity.
And then at the same time, I think that messed with Spock's facial color.
Right, right.
which just made him interesting all around, too.
Well, I think they had to take into consideration, too, budget.
Right.
Truck was not a big budget
No, it was
show.
not. Well, it was not. For its time, it wasn't, you know, in today's dollars, or, you know, compared to just a general, even a sitcom today, it doesn't.
Yeah.
They don't spend that much money. But for its time, they spent a good deal, probably a lot more money than Paramount wanted to. But
which is probably one of the reasons they decided to cancel it.
right,
early
it's like
on, and it's,
the ratings are, and we're spending a lot of money on it, and we're not very happy.
did they know there were kids out there? Oh boy, Star Trek! I get to
Yay.
stay up late and watch Star Trek Thursday. Come on, Dad, Star Trek. That was a lot of fun.
Well, let's see. I had a question, just generally about, you know, considering the 23rd century and all this. I mean, I always wondered who would join Starfleet or security. Really, I mean, either way. I mean, you've got an organization that at peacetime loses a lot of people. A lot of people die in this show. I mean, in the first 3 seasons, over 90 crewmen were killed. Most of them were red-shirted security guys. And
Expendables.
I mean, according to one of the novels, the Enterprise is like the first starship that made it back, after its first mission. And that's what they're saying. It's like that. It's just like they would either get blown up, or they'd find some civilization that would take them hostage, or it would be this utopian civilization where they say, well, we just don't feel like leaving. So I always wondered, you know, it's like what type of thing would Starfleet use to like recruit people to get in to an organization where it's like, you know,
Free travel.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, you know, if you figure one ship, 90 people got killed in 3 years, you know, you figure all the starships.
Free travel with risks.
Lots
Well,
of risks.
they didn't know that though. See, they're back on Earth when at the beginning of the 5-year mission, you're looking at, come on, come with us, see the stars, see billions and billions of planets out here. Meet new. They didn't even know about new. Well, did they?
Well,
about,
yes, because
They had
Spock. They knew about Vulcans.
Well, that's true. Yeah,
There were races already.
Well, they knew
other
at least
races.
about the Vulcans,
Right.
but they didn't know really about very many others. At least not when they first started off.
Right.
So, it's. I guess look at the we've already met one new kind of.
See what else we can
New
find.
kind of being out here. There could be other aliens out there.
Well,
But
come with us to explore. You know.
But I gotta believe there's like, you know, investigative reporters in the 23rd century. You know, they're like finding out about this and saying, "What's the deal with this?" And they go to the chief of Starfleet, and he says no comment. But you know, the way I figured is just like the 23rd century must be incredibly boring for most people.
Geraldo's Sea of Tranquility.
Yeah, I mean,
we know that.
You know, it's just like most of the time when you see rare glimpses of the civilians, it's just like, oh my, what a boring existence. These guys, they go to a cocktail party or they go to something, and it's always like, yikes, what a boring lifestyle. So that's as far as I can figure, that's the only reason that people join Starfleet.
What is the condition of Earth at this time?
It's like
it
a
so bad
utopia.
that you want to leave?
No, it's like a utopia.
Well, what is this? You know, heaven is a place where nothing ever happens.
Yeah, well, that's true. Well, so
Well, there was nothing else, I guess, really to explore on Earth. So the stars were about like they are now. The great frontier.
the final frontier. Yeah.
There's
Which
new things to find out.
Well, that brings up another question. I always wondered, why is Kirk like the only sane and/or competent captain in Starfleet? Every other captain we ever see is like nuts, or he's
The
an
question
idiot.
I have is, why is Kirk a captain?
Ah, okay.
Why is he? What makes him?
He's that
I mean,
get up and go kind of guy.
He basically has no morals.
But he has that lofty sense of
Every time
enterprise.
Yes, but every time he hits a new planet, it's like, yeah, let's go check out the babes and see.
Well, but that's probably, you know, I would think Starfleet would kind of
Are there no women on the ship?
kind of say, you know, say, why don't you go do that, you know?
Why don't you go check out the women on this planet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get out there and fraternize.
Yeah.
But,
Explore those new frontiers
right,
to the fullest.
There's the prime directive. You can't interfere.
Well, but,
Can't interfere with their culture and civilization,
Going out
but
with-
you can
go out